Welcome to Philosophic Stoic. Let's turn back time and journey to ancient Athens, where the philosopher Socrates left us with a profound truth. True knowledge is knowing that you know nothing. It may sound paradoxical, but this idea holds the key to unlocking wisdom, acknowledging our limits and continually striving to expand our understanding. Today we'll uncover 12 phrases that wise people avoid, each a gateway to deeper self-awareness and growth. This is not a lesson in perfection, but a path for those who aspire to discover their potential, overcome barriers, and evolve into a better version of themselves. No matter where you are on your journey, these insights can help you refine your thinking, enhance your communication, and see the world with greater clarity. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. It means a lot to us. Thank you for your support. Let's begin this journey of discovery together. 1. I know everything. The phrase that closes all doors to opportunity. Imagine a garden of knowledge. Those who claim to know everything are like gardeners who decide to stop planting seeds, stop watering, believing their garden is already perfect. But we all know this. A garden that stops growing is a garden that starts withering. In this digital age, new knowledge is sprouting at an astonishing pace. What we know today might already be outdated by tomorrow. Even top tech experts must constantly update their knowledge. Scientists are discovering new aspects of the universe every day. How can anyone confidently declare they know everything? I often meet successful people from various fields. Interestingly, they share one common trait. They are always willing to say, "I don't know about that yet," or "Tell me more." They approach every conversation as a chance to learn, not as a stage to show off their knowledge. Think about the great advancements of humanity. They didn't come from people who were satisfied with what they already knew. They came from those who dared to question, who admitted there was still much they didn't understand. Breakthroughs in science, art, or any field start with curiosity and humility. Elon Musk, one of the most famous CEOs in the world, never claims to know it all. Instead, he continually learns, from the aerospace engineering of SpaceX to the electric cars at Tesla. He often encourages people to be self-learners and to challenge their current understanding. When you think you know everything, you're locking yourself in a small room while a vast world awaits outside, ready to be explored. The most curious minds, the most creative thinkers, are always lifelong students in the great school of life. So instead of saying, "I already know that," try saying, "Tell me your perspective." It's that simple. But the difference could be an entire horizon of new opportunities and discoveries. You see, true wisdom is not a destination, it's a journey. And the most beautiful journeys always begin with an open mind and a humble heart. 2. That's impossible. A self-made barrier. Have you heard the story of the first airplane? When the Wright brothers claimed they could build a flying machine, the whole world laughed. "Humans can't fly," they said. But now, thousands of planes glide across the sky every day, and we're even dreaming of space travel. When someone tells you, "That's impossible," they're often really saying, "I don't yet know how to do that." That's a crucial difference. Impossible is a wall in the mind, not in reality. Look around our world. Every technological breakthrough, every medical discovery, every great work of art began as an idea someone once labeled impossible. The internet? Impossible. Curing diseases once considered terminal? Impossible. Yet there are people who refuse to accept that word. Instead of saying impossible, wise people ask, "How?" They turn impossible into not yet possible, and eventually into possible. This isn't blind optimism, it's deliberate persistence. Take Steve Jobs and the iPhone, for example. When Apple first envisioned the iPhone, many doubted integrating a touchscreen into a phone would be feasible. Yet, through relentless innovation, Jobs and his team turned this impossible idea into a reality. When faced with a challenge, instead of limiting yourself with, "That's impossible," try asking new questions. What if I had more time? What if I tried a different approach? Who could help me solve this? What would make this possible? I especially love the story of children learning to code. Initially, they often say, "I can't do it." But when taught to ask, "How can I?" instead of declaring impossible, they created games and apps they never imagined they could. My friend, whenever "that's impossible" is on the tip of your tongue, stop. Remember that today's impossible could be tomorrow's reality. With just a shift in perspective and a bit of persistence, maybe, just maybe, you'll be the one to turn impossible into possible. 3. I don't need help. The illusion of self-reliance. Have you ever seen a lone tree standing strong in the midst of a storm? It's much more likely to break than trees in a forest. Why? Because in a forest, each tree protects the other, their roots intertwining to form a sturdy network. This is nature's lesson in the power of connection and mutual support. In today's world, we are often influenced by the image of the lone hero, someone who overcomes every obstacle alone. But look at the reality. The most successful startups have seasoned advisors. Top Olympic athletes have an entire team of coaches behind them. Even the best solo performers need someone to tune their instruments or manage the stage. I once met a talented young person who always refused help. "I can do it myself," she'd say. After months of burnout and stagnation, she finally learned an important lesson. Accepting help isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of intelligence. Think about it. Does a skilled mountain climber ever refuse a safety harness? Does a pilot ever turn down the radar? Does a doctor ever refuse to consult a colleague? No. They understand that support doesn't diminish their ability, it multiplies their strength. Take Jeff Bezos as an example. Jeff Bezos has always emphasized the importance of collaboration and seeking support from others. He built Amazon into the giant it is today by attracting top talent, from tech engineers to financial analysts. The truth is, none of us know everything. We all have blind spots in our knowledge, limits in our skills, and the wonderful thing is, your blind spots could be someone else's strengths. When we connect these pieces, the bigger picture becomes clearer than ever. Think about the most complex projects in your work. Can one person master every aspect? From design to engineering, from marketing to customer service? Impossible. It's the diversity of perspectives and skills that leads to excellence. So, the next time you face a challenge, don't ask yourself, "How can I solve this alone?" Instead, ask, "Who can help me do this better?" That's not surrender, it's wisdom. Because in the end, true strength doesn't lie in standing alone, but in standing together and reaching higher. 4. I don't care. A phrase that causes self-loss. Here's an interesting thought exercise. Think about a movie you love. Now imagine if the director said, "I don't care about every scene." Or if a chef said, "I don't care about every dish." Or if a doctor said, "I don't care about each patient." What would happen? I don't care. 3 short words with immense destructive power. This phrase is how we strip ourselves of valuable experiences, memorable moments, and opportunities for growth. Like someone walking through a museum with closed eyes, we miss countless masterpieces of life. You know what's interesting? When a child begins to lose their natural curiosity, it's often because they've learned to say, "I don't care," as a defense mechanism. But look at kids who still keep their enthusiasm for life. They ask why about everything, touch everything, try everything. And interestingly, that's exactly what great scientists, talented artists, and successful entrepreneurs still do. Caring is the spark that ignites curiosity and creativity. Every time you say, "I don't care," you're extinguishing a small flame in your soul. And gradually, your world becomes darker, smaller. Warren Buffett, the legendary investor, pays close attention to every detail in his investments and never doesn't care about opportunities or risks. He built his fortune by deeply caring about each investment decision and not overlooking anything that could impact the outcome. I often wonder, what would happen if we replaced "I don't care" with "I'm curious about that," or "Tell me more," or simply, "Why not?" Each day brings new opportunities to care. A colleague sharing about a new project, a friend recounting their trip, an article on new technology, a crazy idea in a meeting. Every one of these moments is an opportunity to expand your world, to learn something new, to connect more deeply with others. The truth is, when you truly care, life becomes richer. Colors appear more vibrant, relationships grow deeper, work feels more meaningful, and most importantly, you become more alive. So the next time the phrase "I don't care" pops into your mind, pause. Try opening yourself to what's happening, because perhaps that moment is when something magical is waiting to be discovered. 5. That's not my job. The phrase that closes doors to opportunity. Imagine a busy kitchen. A chef notices water spilling onto the floor but thinks, "That's not my job." An hour later, the whole team slips and falls. Who's responsible? Everyone. The reality is, in today's world, the line between my job and not my job is increasingly blurred. Everything is interconnected, like links in a chain. When you say, "That's not my job," you're not just refusing a task, you're refusing an opportunity. Success stories often begin with someone daring to take on things outside their role. An IT employee helping a marketing colleague understand SEO. An accountant suggesting ways to improve customer experience. A janitor finding a way to save the company energy. Every time you step beyond your job description, you're not just solving a problem, you're learning a new skill, building new relationships, gaining insight into the bigger picture, creating unexpected value. Think about it. If everyone only did their own job, who would innovate? Who would spot new opportunities? Who would solve problems that no one has yet noticed? Instead of saying, "That's not my job," ask yourself, "How can I help? What can I learn from this? What will happen if no one does this? Could this be an opportunity for me?" Here's an interesting fact. The people who get promoted the fastest are often those who never say, "That's not my job." They're the ones who reach out to help, who see a problem and solve it, not those who wait for it to be assigned. Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, led one of the company's biggest transformations by encouraging employees to go beyond their job descriptions, to engage in different areas to drive innovation. He turned Microsoft into a more innovative company thanks to a mindset that encourages thinking differently. Sometimes the greatest opportunities come from things outside your role, like a seed that falls in the wrong place but blooms beautifully. You never know where today's "not my job" task might lead you in the future. So, the next time you see something that's not your job, don't be quick to refuse it. Look at it as a door that could lead to new opportunities, skills, and relationships. Because in today's world, the most successful people aren't the ones who only do their job, but those who dare to take on what others haven't yet done. 6. That's unfair. The cry of powerlessness. Imagine a soccer game. The referee makes a controversial call. One team spends 90 minutes complaining, "That's unfair," while the other focuses on scoring more goals. Which team do you think will win? There's a truth we often forget. Life isn't obligated to be fair to anyone. The rain doesn't ask if you brought an umbrella today. Opportunities don't wait until you're ready. The market doesn't care how hard you've tried. But here's what's interesting. Some of the greatest success stories begin with something unfair. A small startup competing with giants, an athlete overcoming a serious injury, an entrepreneur bouncing back after bankruptcy, a student pushing through hardships to pursue their dreams. They don't complain about unfairness. They turn it into motivation. When faced with unfairness, instead of complaining, ask yourself, what can I learn from this situation? What aspects can I control? How can I turn this challenge into an opportunity? Who has overcome similar circumstances, and what can I learn from them? From a tough childhood, Oprah Winfrey rose to become one of the most powerful women in media. Instead of complaining about unfairness, she turned her hardships into motivation to move forward. Here's a small exercise I often suggest. Whenever you feel like saying, "That's unfair," try replacing it with, "This is an interesting challenge." It might sound simple, but it completely changes the way you approach the issue. Instead of feeling like a victim, you start thinking like a problem solver. The reality is, the most successful people aren't those who experience the least unfairness. They're the ones who know how to turn pressure into motivation, transform obstacles into opportunities, use failure as a stepping stone, view hardships as challenges to overcome. What matters isn't whether life is fair to you, but how you respond to unfairness. Because in the end, success doesn't come from your circumstances, but from how you handle them. So the next time you face something unfair, remember, this isn't the end of your story. It's just the beginning of an inspiring story of resilience, and you hold the power to write the rest. Congratulations on making it more than halfway through the video. You're working to become a better version of yourself, and that's wonderful. If you find something useful or inspiring in this video, feel free to hit the subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. We'd love to hear your thoughts, even just a quick "keep it up" in the comments. 7. I'll do it later. A promise to ourselves that we never keep. Try a small experiment. Open your phone. Look at the list of apps you downloaded to use later. Count the ebooks to read later. Check the online courses to take later. Do you see a pattern? Later is one of the sweetest lies we tell ourselves. It seems harmless, like a small piece of candy. But just like eating too much candy, all those laters pile up and can ruin a bright future. Think about it. If you saved just 5 minutes a day to learn a new language, in a year you'd be able to have basic conversations. If you wrote 1 page a day, in a year you'd have a book. If you exercised for 15 minutes a day, in a year your body would be completely different. But later has turned all those possibilities into never. Billionaire Richard Branson is famous for his act now approach. He started Virgin Records at just 20 years old without delay. Branson often says, "Say yes, and you'll figure out how to do it." This philosophy has helped him turn countless ideas into reality. There's something interesting about our brain. It hates the uncertainty of later more than the discomfort of doing things now. Every time you say later, your brain has to keep reminding you about it, creating silent stress and anxiety. Instead of saying later, try, "I'll work on this for 5 minutes right now. I'll complete a small part of this task. I'll start, even if it's just the first step." There's a simple rule. If it takes less than 2 minutes, do it now. If it's longer, break it down and start with the first 2 minutes. Imagine your life as a flowing river. Every later is a small stone you throw in. At first, the current is strong, but gradually, those stones pile up, forming invisible dams that slow the flow of your life. Smart people understand. Right now is the easiest time to act. Motivation comes after action, not before. Each task completed is a building block for good habits. Procrastination doesn't just delay tasks, it also delays happiness. So when you feel like saying, "I'll do it later," stop and ask yourself, if not now, Then when? Because life doesn't wait for those who say later. It only rewards those who dare to start today. 8. I can't do it. Surrendering before the fight. Watch a child learning to walk. They fall, then get up. Fall again, get up again. Not once do they think, I can't walk. They simply keep trying until one day, they don't just walk, they run, jump, and explore the world. This is life's first and most important lesson about persistence. I can't is, in essence, a self-fulfilling prophecy. When we utter these words, our brain immediately stops searching for solutions. It's like a computer that's been powered off. It can no longer process information, find a path, or solve problems. This is why changing how we speak to ourselves is so crucial. Instead of saying, I can't do it, try saying, I don't know how to do it yet. Instead of lamenting, this is too hard, acknowledge that this will take time to learn. Don't jump to, I'll fail. View it as an opportunity to learn. When you change your words, your mindset shifts, and in turn, your actions follow. Think about how many things you've accomplished that once seemed impossible. From simple things like riding a bike or using a computer to bigger challenges like public speaking or learning a brand new skill. Every small success in your past is proof that can't is only a temporary state. When facing a new challenge, don't ask yourself, can I do it? Instead ask, how do I start? Who can help me learn this? What's the smallest first step? By asking constructive questions, you guide your mind towards solutions instead of getting lost in worries about failure. It's essential to remember. Every expert was once a beginner, and every successful person has faced their own can'ts. The difference isn't that they never encountered obstacles, but in how they responded to them. The fear behind can't is completely natural, but you don't need to feel fully ready to begin. You don't need to know everything to start learning something new, and you certainly don't have to be perfect to make progress. Because in the end, the greatest success stories aren't about people who never said can't. They're about those who heard can't and kept moving forward anyway. They turned can't into done, one small step at a time, one day at a time. And you can do the same. 9. It is what it is. The phrase of surrendering to change. Imagine if scientists had accepted disease is just the way it is, if engineers thought distance is just the way it is, or if educators believed teaching is just the way it is. Would we have vaccines? Would we have conquered flight? Would education have progressed to where it is today? It is what it is. This might be the most dangerous phrase in humanity's journey of growth. It's the invisible wall that blocks progress, the unseen chains that restrain innovation, the boundary that limits all potential. Every step forward began with someone daring to say, it doesn't have to be this way. In work and in life, we often hear, this is how it's always been done. But think about it. Every great improvement started with someone daring to ask, why can't it be different? From the smallest changes in daily routines to major breakthroughs in technology and society, all stemmed from refusing to blindly accept the status quo. Instead of accepting it is what it is, ask yourself, what would happen if we tried something different? How can we improve this situation? Why do we still do it this way? Is there a more effective way? Each question like this is a seed of innovation. Each challenge to the status quo is an opportunity for growth. Those who change the world aren't the smartest. They're the ones who dare to question what seems obvious. Remember, tradition has its value, but not everything old is good, and not everything familiar is right. The world is constantly changing, and if we don't change with it, we'll be left behind. So, the next time you hear or feel like saying, it is what it is, pause. Take it as a signal, not to accept, but to start changing. Because every advance begins with recognizing that things can be different, better, more efficient, if we dare to try, to change, and to create. 10. I'm too old, too young for this. An excuse for not daring to start. Have you ever heard the story of a 70-year-old who started learning to paint, or a 12-year-old who created an app to help their community? Life is full of stories like these, stories that shatter stereotypes about age and ability. So why do we often limit ourselves with numbers? Age, after all, is just a number on paper. It doesn't define your ability to learn, it doesn't measure your passion, and it certainly doesn't limit your potential. When someone says, "I'm too old" or "I'm too young," they're closing the door on countless opportunities that life has to offer. Every stage of life brings its own unique gifts. Youth brings boldness, energy, and fresh perspectives unbounded by reality. Age brings experience, wisdom, and the ability to see the essence of issues. There's no perfect age to start. Each phase comes with its own advantages. Harlan Sanders began franchising KFC at age 60, when many would consider it too late to start a business. He proved it's never too late to pursue a passion. Think of learning as an endless adventure. You're never too old to start a new chapter, and never too young to chase big dreams. The important thing isn't when you start, but whether you start at all. Instead of saying, "I'm too old, young for this," ask yourself, what's really holding me back? Why do I want to do this? What unique advantages does my age bring? A year from now, do I want to look back and see progress, or see that I'm still in the same place? Life isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. There's no rule saying you must achieve everything by a certain age. Everyone has their own pace, their own journey, and that's perfectly okay. Remember, when you say "I'm too old" or "I'm too young," you're allowing society and stereotypes to set your limits, but those limits only exist in your mind. The truth is, you're at the perfect age to start, whatever age that may be. So, the next time you feel you're too old or too young for something, remember, age is just a number, but your potential is limitless. Don't let the fear of age stop you from writing new chapters in your life story. 11. I don't have time. An admission of not knowing how to prioritize. Have you ever noticed that the busiest people are often the ones who make time for everything? They still run marathons, learn new languages, spend time with family, and even write books. It's not that they have more time, they simply know how to use their 24 hours more wisely. "I don't have time" is really just a polite way of saying, "It's not important enough to me." When we say we don't have time to exercise, read, or spend with family, let's take a moment to check how many hours we spend on social media, in trivial conversations, or mindlessly scrolling online. Laura Ingalls Wilder started writing about her life at age 65 and became a well-known author with her Little House on the Prairie series. Time is like water filling a container. It will always fill the lowest gaps first. If you don't proactively put in the big rocks, the important tasks, first, your container will quickly be filled with sand and pebbles, the trivial things. Instead of saying "I don't have time," try "I'll make time for this." "This isn't a priority for me right now. I need to adjust how I allocate my time." Here's a simple exercise. For one day, keep track of exactly where your time goes. You'll be surprised at how many time gaps are wasted with little to no value added. Minutes spent waiting, hours mindlessly scrolling on your phone, evenings relaxing in front of the TV. All are missed opportunities. Smart people understand that time, like money, needs to be invested, not just spent. They know that 10 minutes of reading daily can lead to finishing 12 books a year. 15 minutes of exercise each morning can transform your health. 5 minutes of meaningful conversation each day can save a relationship. The problem isn't that we don't have time, it's that we haven't learned to manage it. Like water, time will always find a place to flow. Our job is to direct it toward the right things. So, the next time you're about to say, "I don't have time," pause and ask yourself, what's truly important to me? Because in the end, how you use your time is how you live your life. And life is too short to waste on things that don't really matter. 12. People like me don't do that. The self-imposed chains. Have you ever heard a 5-year-old say, "People like me don't do that"? Probably not, right? That's because young children haven't yet built barriers for themselves. They're willing to try anything, dream every dream, and believe they can become anyone. It's fascinating to think about what we lose as we grow up. People like me. This phrase may sound harmless, but it's one of the most toxic things we can say to ourselves. It's an invisible box we lock ourselves into. It's a map of limitations we draw for our own lives. Imagine what would happen if a young girl from a rural area thought, "People like me can't become entrepreneurs." A 50-year-old thought, "People like me can't start a new career." Someone without a degree thought, "People like me can't succeed." How much potential has been buried by these self-imposed limitations? The truth is, no one is born destined to be a certain way. We are stories in the making, not stories already written. Every day, we have the chance to write a new page, add a new chapter, or even start a completely different book. Instead of saying, "People like me don't do that," try, "Why can't I be the first to do this? What would happen if I tried? How can I become someone capable of doing that?" Who says people like me can't do it? Every step forward in humanity has started with someone daring to break the mold of people like me. Every breakthrough has come from those who question supposed limitations. Imagine you're writing your own biography. Do you want it to be the story of someone who always stayed within the safe box of people like me, or of someone who dared to break every mold to pursue their dreams? So, the next time you catch yourself saying, "People like me don't do that," stop and ask yourself, why not? Because in reality, there's no such thing as people like me. Each person is a unique version of themselves, with limitless potential to grow, change, and become anyone they want to be. We've just explored 12 seemingly harmless phrases that can silently hold us back. Stoicism teaches that controlling our thoughts and words is the foundation for achieving inner freedom and living peacefully. Phrases like, "I know everything," or "It's too late," are merely psychological barriers we create ourselves, trapping us in stagnation and a sense of insecurity. Stoic philosophers like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius continually remind us that, rather than letting circumstances and societal norms dictate our lives, we should focus on what we can control: our thoughts, emotions, and actions. By training ourselves to avoid these self-limiting thoughts, we can face challenges with calm and an open heart. As Stoicism points out, life isn't about reaching perfection, but about the continuous journey of self-improvement. This means that while we cannot change our circumstances, we can choose how to respond to them. Each day is an opportunity to grow, to discover the untapped potential within ourselves. And as Stoic philosophy asserts, true freedom only comes when we master what we think, say, and do. This begins with small daily decisions and simple choices to act in ways that support our own growth. So, whenever you feel doubt or hesitation, remember that we can always choose to react differently, to break through limits, face challenges, and become a better version of ourselves, day by day. This journey is a process of self-discovery and constant self-betterment, a path worth pursuing for a lifetime. Thank you for joining Philosophic Stoic today. If you found value in this video, feel free to subscribe, leave a like, or simply type "Keep it up" in the comments. Your support helps us create more content that you'll love. We appreciate having you as part of our community. Until next time, stay wise and serene. Have a great day.